Good morning, friends and family. Just wanted to take a few minutes and share my story. This is a little bit for me. This is day one of stay at home. And so I've got my COVID beard and my COVID haircut rocking. It's only going to get a little bit fuzzier and phazier and crazier as the weeks go. I wanted to just take a moment and talk about how when I was a boy, my family was at church every time the doors were open. We went Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. I even went to visitation, knocking on doors, things like that. And anytime the door was open at the church, we were there. I was also a pretty good kid. I even knew a whole lot about the Bible, knew a lot of Bible stories, could answer questions. But all those things, together, Christian family, Christian home, supposedly, this sort of Christian nation sort of stuff and all that, knew the Bible, behaved, but none of those things were enough for me to be a Christian. I was at church one Sunday night, and the pastor asked, if you were to die tonight on a car crash home, how sure are you that you would go to heaven when you die? And I didn't know. Got home, my mom, my dad noticed something was wrong and asked me about it. I just told him, I said, I know that when you die, you're going to go to heaven, and my older sisters and all that. But I wasn't sure about myself. So they told me about Jesus. Not that was the first time. I had heard the story before. But for whatever reason, that time, what they said meant something more. They told me that every person ever alive sinned. That sin is disobeying God. Even small things like a white lie or disobeying your parents or what have you is sin. And that sin separates us from God. But God loves us so much that he doesn't want us to go to hell when we die. He doesn't want us to be separated from him. And so he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross on our behalf. Jesus paid that penalty for sin that we don't have to. And then he rose from the grave. So if we admit we're a sinner, we believe that Jesus died and rose again. And then if we commit our life to follow him, not perfectly, but faithfully, we will go to heaven when we die. And so my parents took me to the pastor. I don't know that I made a decision right then, but they then took me to see the pastor, and I remember being very scared and all that sort of stuff. Went into his office and just prayed a simple prayer, admitting my sin, believing in Jesus, and committing to follow him. From that day forward, I've been far from perfect, far from always making the right choice or always doing the right thing or always loving God and loving my neighbor and all that sort of stuff. But ever since that day, I have been certain that when I die, I'm going to go to heaven. And so I just have to ask you, friend, with all the things that are going on in this world today, are you sure? Are you sure that when you die, you'll go to heaven? And if you want to know more, feel free to ask me. Feel free to reach out. Would love to talk to you. Even here's my cell, 817-845-0054. I'd love to tell you about Jesus, that you may know too where you're going when you die.